Welcome
Okay,
back.
sir.
Yeah, it has started, I think. So, shall I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, welcome back. Uh, Actually, the speaker, which is just before lunch and just after lunch, is having a lot of problems because just before lunch everybody is hungry, and just after lunch everybody is having stomach full. So, so both the cases, yeah, it's very difficult to discuss the things. But it's okay, since you are definitely uh, people who are used to such kind of situations, because you must have attended many FDPs and many workshops. So let's start, right? So just before we broke for lunch, by the way, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So just before breaking for lunch, I asked you that I asked my students, some of my students to whom I was discussing about what are the skills required, to choose one of these questions, one of these answers, sorry, of this multiple choice question. That if you are sitting in front of employer, and if you want to tell the employer in one line, or say just in two sentences, why you should be selected. So these four options I gave to my students. I think, therefore I am, hence you take me. I am, therefore I think, hence you take me. I am like I am, hence you take me. And I am like I am, which I am showing, hence you take me. So out of these four, one is more suitable. And why one is more suitable, I will tell you. So to develop oneself as a good employer, you first should be developing yourself as a good employee. Because why I am linking these two, that a good entrepreneur should have all the qualities of first becoming a good employee. Because what you are expecting from your employee, if you are not having those skills, then why should the employees be careful about developing those skills, right? So it's a kind of walk the talk, right? So if you are not developing certain skills and you are asking your employees to develop those skills, then why should employees will trust you in that matter? So it's only that employees should have certain skills, and employers should not have. By employer I don't mean the owner of the that particular organization, but definitely owner also must have, right, those skills. So whatever it may be, if you want to become entrepreneur, if you want to develop an organization is not just say industry, or say your employees and machines and marketing and sales, right? So it's a thought. An organization is a complete thought process, right? So if you want to knit your organization well, if you want to progress well, then you must have certain pillars of your organization, thought pillars of your organization. So which should be those thought pillars, right? So in such cases, in my opinion, although I have not started any organization as such right now, in future really I don't know, but one must have certain core values of that particular organization. And which are those core values which you think that your employees must have, that you should have yourself? Then it's a walk the talk kind of thing. And that's why those companies who have these qualities, recent example you can give is of that Elon Musk, right? So right now he is, I think just now last week he has been replaced by um, I don't remember, but he is second wealthiest right now in terms of the value of his shares and his holdings. Jeff Bezos, I think Jeff Bezos is the first again serial investor. He lost some. I mean, Elon Musk lost certain 13 or 16 billion dollars worth of his fortune last week only, because of a single tweet, because of a single tweet he made. So I read that somewhere else, right? So what I was talking to you is stressing a point that you should have certain qualities if you want to become an entrepreneur. Or why you? By you, I don't mean you should become, but you should tell your students that if they want to become an entrepreneur, then they must walk the talk, right? So what is the first step? The first step becomes this: discovering self. Any student, if he or she wants a good placement, and I will again now tell anyone who wants to become a good entrepreneur, should discover oneself. So what do you mean by discovering self? Discovering oneself means what are interests, what are your skills, what are your abilities, and what are your aptitudes. Because without these four essential ingredients of discovering self, I don't think so that you should step into any kind of thing, neither to become an employee nor to become an employer. You should not step. You should just sit idle and do whatever you are doing right now. Right? By you, again, I don't mean to undermine you as such. Right? You should inculcate these kind of skills in students, right? So let's take some of them one by one. So what is required for seeking employment? That is what is that discovering self. So that was the first step, right? So that's why I said the first step is depicted in this particular thing. And you must have observed, some of you, I mean, the background for most of the slides which I was using till now, and I will use further for some slides, is this only. This particular student wearing a cap is sitting quietly, say in front of a river, a rock on a river, and kind of contemplating himself here, that who am I? So discovering self, know thyself. So that is why I said in the movie Matrix, so there is one Latin scribbling there, know thyself. So know yourself first, right? So this is the first step. So you contemplate on what qualities you are having, what interests you are having. So this is the first step. So discovering self-interest, discovering self-skills, discovering self-abilities, and discovering self-aptitudes. And what are then other steps? The other steps follow. That after this is the first important step, quiz yourself, then discover what are the resources, learn also includes unlearn, please understand, then master, and then present yourself. So these are the steps which are required for any employment. And again I am stressing, although I am writing employment here, at least for today, I am using employment and entrepreneurship words interchangeably many times, right? For the simple fact that if you are building an organization, what qualities you are seeking in your employees, you must have those qualities. Then only your organization has more chances to succeed. That's why I am using these words interchangeably. So let's take this. And what are the skills required after getting employment? Now, many students first say, sir, after getting employment, what are the skills needed? Basically, these skills are needed, kind of our pre-filtering process. That's it. So this is just a pre-filter. It's not even filter. It's a pre-filter. If you are not good at these steps, then even you may not get a chance for an interview itself. You will not cross the aptitude mark, or even if you cross up to the aptitude mark, even if you get your interview or group discussion stage, then you will, if you are not you are weak in one of the, say, presenting area, mastering area, learning area, one of these areas, you will not get placement. So after placement, then what are the skills required? Then you require many skills, because these are the skills right now are important actually from the employer's point of view, that means entrepreneur's point of view. So if you go to placement in any college, which are the skills you must have? Basic aptitude, basic presentation skills, basic communication skills, that you must have. But once you employ somebody to maintain that job, at least you must have certain skills. So which are those skills? There is again a long list of skills there. Are you a person who takes initiative? Are you a person who is self-motivated? Are you a person suitable for a teamwork job, a group work? Are you having cooperation attitude? Are you punctual? Are you adaptable to change? That's why I am specifying that change management is one of the most important skills nowadays. And after COVID-19, it has been stressed upon definitely. And at least as a teacher, as a student, as a parent, everybody is aware now. It was a forced change, obviously, right? So nobody thought of that such kind of calamity will happen. But those adaptability skills, fortunately, after COVID-19, you can say it's a boon in a disguise kind of thing. That adaptability skills have slightly improved. But what about other skills? Are you proactive? Right? So initiative means whether you are proactive or not. Or you just work upon, just like in Marathi. I don't know how many are non-Marathi people, but in Marathi there is one concept called as sang kamya. I mean, unless you tell somebody to do something, he will not do something, right? Here, such kind of people are not good employee. So an entrepreneur who is not proactive, who is not experimenting, then that company is bound to fail. You must be self-motivated. You must be having teamwork attitude. You must be cooperative. You must be punctual. So you must be definitely those who have joined before 2:30. I placed one screen there. Hello world, we will resume at 2:30 p.m. Because I normally try to be punctual unless otherwise there is something beyond my control is there, right? So punctuality must be one of your important skills, and adaptability, as I was telling, right? So one of the most important again after all this is ethics. Ethical behavior for employee and employer. That means you are running a company. If your workers are unethical, you will not take a single second to fire him or her, right? So if you want your employee or employees to become to be ethical, you have to be ethical as an entrepreneur. So that's why these skills go hand in hand. I must stress here that all these skills are very important for even entrepreneur. And I know that many people, you may get certain speakers, or you might have earlier speakers also might have stressed upon some skills. Next speakers also, after those speakers after me or some other time also, you will see what skills are necessary for entrepreneurship. Very few people will tell you some of the skills which are needed, right? Because these skills are needed for placements, right? For getting a job. So for entrepreneurship also the same thing, right? So how to get employment? The same thing. Discovering self, quiz yourself, learn resources, learn, master present. So discovering self means who am I? So the basic question you should ask is who am I? So discover your interests, discover your skills, discover your abilities, and discover your aptitude. You must come to know what is your comfort zone first. Because self-interest means what? Where you are comfortable in. And these interests are known as comfort zone. Because these are your interests. But that doesn't mean that you should always sit in your comfort zone. Because for entrepreneurship, coming out of comfort zone is the first important thing. And there is what you will get the chance for change management that we will see later. Okay. So the interest can lead to career choice, obviously, whether you will do a people-centric job or whether you will do some information-centric job or you will do some technology-centric job. Converting that to entrepreneurship for your self-interest in entrepreneurship, whether you will be doing some people-centric organization, whether your organization will be information-centric organization, whether your organization will be technology-centric organization. So that you must discover. So discovering self-interest. Next is discovering self-skills. So which are the basic skills which you are having? Are you having the basic skills? Are you having thinking skills? Are you having the social skills? Unless you don't have, you cannot proceed, right? And what are the abilities? Abilities are skills you have already developed. This is not that you will develop. What you will develop is a different matter. But right now, this is a discovery. Know yourself, right? So this is a SWOT analysis you must have heard. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So out of which you are right now just thinking about strengths, your abilities, so that you are already developed. So you must have responsibility, self-esteem, self-management, integrity and honesty, cooperation, self-motivation, and are you following directions, certain directions. So these are the abilities you must have. Then self-aptitude. And aptitudes later can be developed into skills. For example, I am having, say, an aptitude to movie making. I am having aptitude, but am I having those skills with me right now? Right? I am having aptitude, but I have not developed skills. So to develop skills, then I need to train myself. I need to get trained. I must be experimenting. I must learn from my mistakes. Correct? So being an aptitude doesn't mean that you are having skills. So therefore, you have a general aptitude. All must have general aptitude. And that's why the aptitude tests are must. There is a misconception in the minds of many people that aptitude tests, which are the filter process of any placement, make you get the job. No. Many times the companies, because being from the training and placement officer for 2 years almost, I know that companies don't always go by the aptitude score. They go by individual scores also. So even if a certain student doesn't have a good technical aptitude, but it has a certain kind of other aptitude, they will probe that student further, because technical aptitude may be weaker right now, but over the years technical skills can be developed. Correct? So all the time having all the aptitudes is not necessary. You will be having certain kind of a different kind of aptitude, thinking out of the box, for example. But right now, what are the technologies? You don't know much. But such person will be considered for a job where there is a need for creative thinking people, out of the box thinking people, right? So it's very important to understand what are the aptitudes before plunging into the entrepreneurship, because you must know some of the things. It's not like just a kind of, say, you are having a lot of purse with you, money with you, and you just start a company. If you don't know what that company is all about, that's why I said that there must be some pillars of the company, right? So thought processes are very important here. So aptitude cannot be improved by taking crash course. So this is again a very important thing, that people think that by reading a Grewal I can have aptitude. It's a slow process. It's not a crash course. By doing a Grewal's book in 2 days, crash course kind of thing, your aptitude cannot be improved. It's a slow process. It takes time and energy. You must have always calm mind, quiet mind, and require many tests to master some of the skills. So that's why students must start building their aptitude, reskilling themselves very slowly but surely. So rediscover yourself again and again. Quiz yourself means rediscover. So again, after a gap, rediscover yourself. Keep interest inventory with you. So whether your interests are changing, whether your interests remain same, do the ability assessment again and again. Take the aptitude test again and again. There are a lot of online tests available right now, which you can do. Then find out what are the resources. So resources for choosing a career. Again, I'll say that becoming an entrepreneur. So what are the resources you are having with you to become entrepreneur? So that is what is entrepreneur. Okay. So research, network, work-based learning, all these things I will be fast. But what is the mantra? Mantra should be learn, learn, and learn. Learn basics, learn advancements, learn updates, go back to basics, refine basics, refine advancements, refine updates. So all these things is a continuous process. Learning never stops. In my many mails, I use a hashtag learning never stops. And it's a very good hashtag. I don't know who has started it, but I have started using this much often. Learning never stops. And I have used this in Corona or COVID much often. Right? I try to be a modern with my students because they will be then quickly attached to my thinking process, my thought process. So this is one of the very important thing from this ecosystem development kind of view, that you must some of the things you must try. For example, uh, see, I am telling you that why I tell my students to watch movie like Inception, for example. I ask to my students to watch many movies, right? So why? Because they will quickly do that job. If you ask them to watch a 1947 movie, which is of the black and white era, they will never watch that movie. But if you ask them to watch a new Hollywood movie, or by new means in last 10-20 years science fiction movie, they will quickly watch that movie, and then based on that movie example, then you can divert their thinking process in certain directions. And I have done that. I told you that ecosystem development is not just building a laboratory or creating a machinery with you, or keeping certain, say, workshops. It's not just building ecosystem. It's basically here, it starts here in brain, right? So you must have that ecosystem development of brain first. And that's why all these things you will find in my presentation. Never I have said at the till the end also that bring this machinery. All these things I will tell you from where you can get. And then master it, right? So why master? Because mastering is the required for highly skilled job, right? Highly skilled job. Why should they pay more? Why should they pay you more if you do not have the advanced skills? So that is the basic question, right? So what is the mantra here? Mantra is go vertical and go deep. Now again related to entrepreneur. If you want to become a successful entrepreneur, you should get an employee or set of employees where they will demand you more salary because they are highly skilled. Then only they will work. So if they are highly skilled, if you want to pay them more, then obviously you should seek in them certain very high level jobs. And if you are not able to think of those high level jobs, right, how will your company grow? So it's not just starting a business. Finally, you have to go up to the plan where that company will grow to, say, 2 billion company or 5 billion company or 10 billion company, right? So I think most of you might have known about one book by Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So if you have not read this, I think you should read this. Everybody should read this, and please prescribe this book for your students also. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And you know what is the first habit? Begin with end in mind. The first habit in this book, which he has written, is begin with end in mind. Begin with end in mind. So this is the first habit which you should develop. Why? Because if you don't know what is the final target, final means it will never be final, end means it will never be an end, but at least have certain vision. Don't be thinking in just silos, right? So in very small quantities, go big, think big. As our earlier one of the earlier president, who is one of my idols, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our ex-president, highly renowned president and highly renowned scientist, he said that the dream should be such that it will not let you sleep. It is not that dream should be seen in the sleep. No, it should be such that it will not let you sleep. नींद नहीं आनी चाहिए, ऐसा ड्रीम चाहिए. So think very high. You should have employees, say certain 10, 15 employees in your organization with 30 lakh per annum salary. So if you want to give them 30 lakh per annum salary, you should have that much work for them. That means you should know what work you should give to them. You should know all these things. So master all those things. So go vertical, go deep inside the thoughts which you are having. And finally, presenting. That means, remember the quick poll earlier, which I have done with you. I think, therefore I am, hence you take me. I am, therefore I think, hence you take me. I am like I am, hence you take me. I am like I am, which I am showing, hence you take me. This is actually the question related to only presentation. If you are having certain set of skills, then during an interview or group discussion, you should present who you are. And that's why in this, it's actually I am like I am, which I am showing, hence you take me, is the most appropriate answer while presenting yourself. And while presenting means, it means if you are not having certain skills which you are presenting, then it's a disaster. It's a disaster. That's why it's very important that even if you say that I am like I am, which I am showing, show who you are, but do not show who you are not. Claim what you can do, but do not claim what you cannot do. So these two are together, and these two are together. So show you are, but do not tell falsely. Do not bluff who you are not. Claim what you do, but do not claim what you cannot do. It's very important to understand that while presenting yourself in front of a probable employer, as a student, I am telling, I tell this to my students, that don't bluff these things. If you are not having certain skills, do not show that you are having those skills. You cannot do that, don't tell them that you can do that. Okay, so this is very important, and the same thing is true for entrepreneurs. That's why I have mixed the two words together today, interchangeably, entrepreneurship and employment. So which are the way to show? Resume, then digital presence, and an interview. Out of which entrepreneurship is not actually showing resume, but it's definitely digital presence is very important for entrepreneurship. For getting a job, all the three are important: a good resume, a good digital presence, and a good interview. But for an entrepreneur, digital presence is a must now. You must be ready with all the plan to have your digital presence in the digital world. If you are not on LinkedIn, I don't think so that there are chances that you will succeed as an entrepreneur. If you are not having a good Facebook wall, which shows what are your capabilities, what you can do, if you are not showing them what are your current projects, what is the impact of current projects, I don't think so your entrepreneurship will succeed now in this era of the digitization and online entrepreneurship, digital world, right? If you are not publishing your stories on Instagram, if you are not good in Twitter, if you are not showing your thought processes in any of the social medias which people use, then you will not become a good entrepreneur. So the social presence, the digital presence must mirror what you are doing and must bring your so-called customers towards you and so-called B2B or all those businesses to you, right? Businesses to you, not only customers as end customer, but the other businesses attracted towards you. And by interview here, I mean it's one-to-one interaction whenever it is having, right? So this is about small thing about resume. I will just skip for the want of time. I think it's 4 o'clock we have to end. So show what you have done and show what you want to do. So show your dreams also, plans to achieve, what you have done so far, and support. What is the support which you must have, do that. Then interview, I am like I am, which I am showing right now. Show what you are, do not show what you are not. Claim what you can do not claim what you cannot do. And in presenting, it's very important that this statement, this particular, when going gets tough, the tough gets going. This statement was etched in my brain after watching one of the movies by Nana Patekar. I do not remember the name of movie, but it was based on military training, NDA training. If somebody from the participant remembers the name of the movie, they can type in the chat box. So it was Nana Patekar's movie. Nana Patekar goes to the NDA training, and in the training, in one of the bridges, that was written, when going gets tough, the tough gets going. So try to do, right? So push beyond your comfort zone, try hard, show that you can try logical things. And this is what is also true, or rather must. These are must for entrepreneur, must for entrepreneurship, right? So do not be afraid of failure. So freedom from the fear of failure. Freedom from the fear of failure is one of the most important skill in entrepreneurship. And this we must teach to students in some form of the other. Okay. So what we have done, because I told you that what we have done also, I will tell in between, right? So we have introduced one subject, or rather, okay, I will tell that later. Okay. So once this, because then unnecessary, it will come in our thoughts. Okay. Try hard. Show that you like novel challenges, new challenges, push beyond your comfort, etc., etc. And then after the thing, initiative, self-motivation, teamwork, cooperation, punctuality, and adaptability skill. This already I have told you, right? And ethics. Ethical behavior is must. Okay. So I'll just keep this because everybody knows what is ethics and what is the importance. I think many other speakers also must have told you all this. So how are our students right now, or how are we right now, or how are probable entrepreneurs are having right now? So many things you have to do to assess yourself, self-assessment, right? So SWOT analysis is must. Okay. So must-haves are importance of ethical behavior, positive psychology, hunger for innovation, and no fear of failure. Must have. So how are we doing this? Right? How are we doing this? I will tell you one by one later. Right? How we are increasing these things in our students. So one of the most important thing which I am telling in today's talk is it's all game here. It's a game in the brain. Entrepreneurship is or innovation is the brain, is the game inside the brain. So it's very important to think how the brain learns new things, right? So there is one Chinese proverb: give a person a fish, you will have fed the person for today. Teach a person to fish, you have fed the person for a lifetime. So teach them to catch a fish rather than to consume a fish. Instead of become a consumer of a fish, ask them to become a fish catcher. How to catch the fish is very important, and this is how the brain learns. And here is the one which actually is a dilemma in the mind of students mostly. So for example, doing a project, which supervisor or which guide the students choose, and everybody must have these experiences in some form of the other, so you can relate it to yourself. So this is how actually I present that: choose the guide or supervisor which makes your going tough, not easier. So this is one mantra which I tell to my students, those who come to me obviously, and those whom I want to influence to become an entrepreneur. So I tell them always that you have to choose a path which is difficult. There is no rosy path. See, everybody can show the rosy picture, can paint a rosy picture, but it's not necessary that the picture will be rosy, right? There are many things in life which they will come across, and you must make them ready to face the challenges, right? So right now, with the micro, small and medium scale industries, what is the status? What are the challenges? What are the hindrances, right? And what is the thing which what we can do? I will go just in 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. Basically, distribution of small and medium scale industries by activity is roughly, this is the in the annual report. I told you initially in the initial half that there are many agencies which publish different reports. For example, this report I have taken from FICCI, Federation of Indian Chamber and Commerce Industry, something like that. I forgot the exact full form of that, but they had certain report in annual report in 2017-18, and they have found out that approximately it's 1/3 each. Manufacturing is 1/3, trade is 1/3, and other services are 1/3. So this is the distribution of small and medium scale industries. And there are various hindrances, problems, challenges. First and foremost is, say, government policies is there pertaining to production, distribution, price change, because there is a change in investment pattern, right? So prioritization will become problem. Then shortage of power, transport, raw material is always a problem, because our country is a big country. The situation is improving, but certain things it is not improving also. So what is the solution? That solution lies in the corrective actions at territory level by both central and state government. So they must go hand in hand. But I don't want to comment on this. But right now there are major problems regarding this area. So other factors are there. A lot of other factors are there, right? Which I will not go into that. I will provide this PowerPoint presentation to everybody. I will give it to the organizer. They can provide you to that. So there are so many other factors. Why I am showing it here basically is that every entrepreneur must go through these things also. It's not just that you have some technology industry, you will start some technology industry and you will forget about the other aspects of this, right? So you must have laws in your mind, you must have policies in your mind. For example, you must know that there is a Niti Aayog now and there is no concept called as that 5-year plans. Earlier there were used to be 5-year plans, Panchvarshik Yojana. Now it is not 5-year plans. It's a Niti Ayog now, NITI, Niti Ayog, where if they want to change, they just sit together and they change it. They don't wait for 5 years, right? So they don't even wait for 3 years. If the policy change is necessary, after 2 years, they sit after 2 years and they change the plan. So it's a kind of adaptive nature of the Niti Ayog, which makes it better placed with the changes in the situation. So because in earlier case, when there were 5-year plans, so they will not change the plan, or they will not review the plans mostly after for 5 years. So for 5 years, everything remains status quo, right? So nothing is going to change. Some things will change, but major changes would not be there. Okay. So there are obviously advantages and disadvantages of each system. But as a good corporate people definitely know that the Niti Ayog is much better in policy formulations and policy renewal rather than 5 year. Okay. So all these things the prospective entrepreneur should know. That's why I have included some of the points here, right? But when you make a plan for entrepreneurship, or all people are not lucky. I know many people must have told about this, but not in a probably in cartoon format. So if you plan something, if you have a goal and you have certain your plan, you think that road is so good that you will go there very easily, isn't it? But no, you will not go. The reality is quite different. You will have lots of problems. Sometimes you will get lots of ladders also, right? So it's a game of snakes and ladders kind of thing. You will go down, you will go up, then sometimes it will be good, and sometimes it will be bad, but you have to just go and finally reach the target. So it's a different ball game altogether, right? And what is the future? I hope some of the experts have covered what is known as Industry 4.0, because the fourth industrial revolution has already begun. From how many days? From years actually. So people are changing a lot. Those who don't know what is Industry 4.0 right now in engineering and polytechnic colleges, I think they are ignorant people, right? So there are a lot of changes. And what is the major component of Industry 4.0? Basically, it is the innovation driven growth. Internet of Things, machine to machine talk, learning, artificial intelligence, robotics, robotic process automation, machine learning, computer vision, big data, data analytics, information technology. All these are nowadays components which are very important, and you must make all these components ready, at least in the minds of students, and if possible infrastructure, if possible training, if possible get experts in this area and do this. Otherwise, in next few years, our current technologies are going to become obsolete. And because it is automation driven growth, intelligence driven growth, it's not only innovation driven growth, plus it is intelligence driven growth. Okay, it is intelligence driven growth. Why I am adding this intelligence driven growth? Because more and more artificial intelligence you are having inside that technological change, innovation change. That's why it is smart technologies, right? Intelligent industries should become smart and intelligent. Machines are becoming smart and intelligent. So our students must be ready, our entrepreneurs must be ready, so gone are the days where you are thinking that take a machine and just start your business. No, you must think that after 2 years, after 3 years, after 5 years, after 10 years, what is the growth in which direction, and whether you are ready for that or not. So think about that plan. As I am telling you, begin with the end in mind. So it's very important to understand all this. So I'm not going into the details of what is Industry 4.0, but I hope some speaker will give a very good introduction. Or if not, you can learn that on your own. There are many good reports available, many good papers available, many good discussions available on YouTube also about what is Industry 4.0. Okay. So our biggest advantage, this I have taken from PricewaterhouseCoopers report, which was specifically for India. I hope you can see this. It's actually Future of India, the winning leap. So Future of India, the winning leap. This is PricewaterhouseCoopers report, PwC report of 2014. So in 2014 itself, they were thinking about how India will progress. And this happens. There are many such institutes in India, worldwide, that they think about the Indian workforce, etc., etc. So obviously 65% of India's population is below the age of 35, and that is the biggest demographical advantage which we are having. But there is an employability challenge, because 50 million people need to be skilled each year. 50 million means 5 crore, right? So 5 crore people need to be skilled. So to get a job of 2 crore, you must teach at least 2 crore every year, and that is the biggest problem, right? But that was a challenge. You need actually 1.2 crore new jobs a year to adjust the growing needs of the industry. So that's why I think government kept the target of 2 crore jobs per year, right? But somehow the machinery and all those, and then people, the babugiri, as the Prime Minister called the other day, it was not possible probably, but we must do. There is no other way but to do it. Somebody has to do. Right? So there are 10 vectors of growth in that report, which actually have taken what was the current level in 2013 and what was the 2034 targets. For example, life expectancy in 2013, it was 66 years. Target for 2034 is 80 years. Then average years of schooling, it was 7 years earlier, 10 years target for this. Agricultural yield, in 2013 it was 4 tons per hectare, but in 2034 the target they kept as 7.4. So these are the actually 10 vectors of growth, right? And to have these growths achieved, what to do, right? So you must have businesses, you must have players, you must have entrepreneurs who should take benefit of the present laws and the targets which the big industry people, the forecast people like PwC are giving us, to have certain kind of innovation, right? And these people are not simple people. They have well set people, well skilled people to give the guidelines also. So one of the guidelines which they give is that since market players cannot rely on traditional solutions, right, achieving desired results alone will not take either too long or too expensive. So new solutions therefore will be required. So innovative thinking must be there in all this approach. And how to get those innovative things? So they have proposed 3 kind of approaches. First is fierce catch-up. That means just make the present capacity, expand that present capacity at fast speed. For example, whatever our Honorable Nitin Gadkari ji is doing in infrastructure, at least road infrastructure. So earlier, say X number of kilometers per day was laid for NHAI, National Highway Authority of India. He is trying to make it 3x. He is trying to make it 5x or 10x. So it's called as fierce catch-up. or sometimes you need to take a significant leap. Significant leap means forget about it, disruptive change. It's a disruptive change. You go and think differently and take a big push, right? Take a big push. And the third approach is called as leapfrog approach. These both, significant leap and leapfrog approach, are based on new solutions. And here is where the entrepreneurship will come into picture, right? So developing a new solutions, developing innovatively, thinking is very important, because how much you try to implement certain things with a fierce catch-up approach, with a say fast pace approach, right, you will not achieve big. Basically, if you want to go from say 1.9 trillion US dollars of GDP in 2014 to 10.4 trillion in 2034, right? So they have given us this. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has not given this. It's a Price Cooper Waterhouse report in 2014, before even the present PM took power, right? So they have given this approach much before, right? But they were going up to only 10.4 trillion dollars of USD GDP, right? So which I think is definitely achievable. But more than that also is achievable, but we must have certain things to do, right? So what we can do? Innovation only. Innovation is the most important, and enabling innovation slowly but surely is the right kind of approach which you must have. Okay. Actually, we must have a mix of significant leap and leapfrog solutions, because you cannot always take the significant leapfrog approach, and even significant leap also is not possible many times. Okay. So we have to carry a burden of a lot of problems, and finally we must have some ecosystem development in our engineering institute. So finally I am coming to that topic, but please forgive me for that, but it's very important to create a mindset first. That's why I took so long to come to this particular slide. So we must go from the job market to the startup market, or to the innovation market. So this is a big change, right? So there is a problem to find the solution, definitely. Okay. So there is a big change ahead. So this is the biggest problem to find the solution in the ecosystem development. This is what everybody registers, right? So you know the Ohm's law. I hope whoever you are from whatever branch you are having, you know definitely what is Ohm's law. Ohm's law is I is equal to V by R, where resistance changes. If resistance changes, current changes. But basically, what is resistance? It is resistance to the current. So if you teach this kind of Ohm law, even if you teach it by the way of resistance, ammeter, voltmeter, etc., with VI characteristics, instead of that, one cartoon is sufficient for that. So this is what is Ohm's law. That current wants to go, volt pushes the current, but Ohm is the one which resists that current, right? So there are many ohms in our system. Excuse me, I'll just take 15-second break. Okay, sorry for the trouble. So what I'm telling is that there are many ohms in our many resistances in our system, the whole ecosystem, which we must address to, right? And this is the biggest task which you are having. There is a lot of resistance to change, lot resistance to change. So this cartoon shows it all. People are not ready to change. By the way, this particular cartoon is a very sober cartoon. There are many cartoons like this available on internet, that even animals are registered to change. Okay, so you can find either horses or donkeys or any animal or people who are always registered to change. They are not ready to change. And there are many cartoons available, but even since ages, actually dawn of the history, there were protests which funnily, I mean, even Andolan GVs, some people are calling, Prime Minister is calling that जब कभी भी ये व्हील का इन्वेंशन हुआ था, तब भी लोग ऐसे ही करते होंगे, नो व्हील्स हियर, नो न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी, नो चेंज. Whatever the people might have told them. For example, this person, poor person, is explaining round wheels are more efficient, but the old people who are using old technology with a square wheels were happy with that, right? So no thanks, we are really busy right now. We have got to move very fast, we don't have time, we don't have to think otherwise. And then in company, some people just try to think, company means not only company, in institutes also, what if we don't change at all and something magical happens, just happens. So everybody, it's not magic, right? So it doesn't happen so quickly, magically. There's no magic here, right? And there are people like boss. Okay, you please don't correlate with your boss, but there are people who want to find a bold and innovative way to do everything exactly the same way it's been for 25 years, right? So for 25 years the same old system, status quo system is available. Somebody wants to find the change, and even if you find the change, some people say, I don't want to change, I want all of you to change. I don't want to change, right? So you change, I don't want to change. Okay, but as I told you, there was a forced change due to COVID, right? So this is one of the advantage of COVID. Why I'm calling it as advantage, because now we are using the technology, right? So earlier people were thinking that digital transformation is years away. I don't think our company having no to change anytime too soon. Even institutes also, they were not ready to use the technology in their teachings. They were not ready to communicate using the new technology available, like we are doing right now through Google Meet. Google Meet was available earlier also, right? Google Meet was available. There were things which were available. Google Classroom was available. I remember that I started using Google Classroom way back in 2012 or 13, almost 9 years ago. Right? It was available, Google Classroom, but no, people are not ready to change. Right? So if the people in technical institutes are not ready to change, you can think how the common man is behaving for the change in technology. But this was a forced change, obviously, right? And change is must, actually. So if you want to bridge the gap, then change is the only way, right? And that's why I'm changing. I'm not changing language, please don't worry. This is just one way that how brain thinks, because you probably might have remembered the question. We must make this as a thinking in brain rather than doing laboratory development, equipment purchase, workshops, FDPs. Those are necessary, no doubt, but it must be here. So I don't think so many people will recognize this, but this is Japanese characters called as Kaizen. Kaizen is a English translation like change is good. Kaizen technology, manufacturing people definitely must be knowing this. Those who are in production engineering or manufacturing, they will definitely know what is Kaizen. Change is good, and therefore you must change the habits of people, right? So let us check if you can read this. Small but continuous change. Yes, yes, HOD sir. Uh, can you just type in what is this? I know everybody will say A, right? What is this? This is again A, right? Inverted A. This is A. This is again A. This is again A. Why I am showing all this? Because this is how our brain learns. When you did not know what was A, all these things must be fed to our brain. Brain must be trained. So the people in our organizations must be trained for change. So this is very important. So what can be a typical change project? And that is how I did also, right? So here I can correlate definitely how I did. Basically, this particular thing is I have done most of the things, and that is why this is a kind of, say, foolproof impact which you will have later finally. So this can be a change project in your organization, right? So what should be the aim of the project? Aim of the project is creativity enhancement leading towards entrepreneurship and incubation, right? So this was in my mind when I took over as the in charge of innovation, in charge of training and placement office, and in charge of industrial relations, which was called as industry liaison, dean of industry liaison. So with this of the project in my mind, and with the scope of the project, which is mostly aimed at student, but faculty involvement is also envisaged here. Why it is important to have faculty involvement? Because they are the what it is called in chemistry, agents of change, right? So they are agents of this change. So this faculty includes administrators such as head of the departments, deans, head of the institutes, and going beyond that, it will say director of technical education, joint director of technical education, MSBT people, then Maharashtra government. But at least that is not in our hands. That's why I have not included that in this particular scope of the project, right? So what are the objectives? Simple objectives I kept in my mind: to inculcate innovative and creative thinking in students and faculty. That's it. So very simple. Sounds simple, isn't it? To increase multidisciplinary projects. Now, why it is so important to have multidisciplinary projects is because Industry 4.0 will not be a standalone technology anywhere. It's artificially intelligence driven, it's computer vision driven, robotics driven, intelligence robotics driven technology, big data, computer science. So all the branches must work together. So it's a multidisciplinary project was one of the most important thing in my mind. And to build an innovation culture which will lead to incubation of startup culture, right? So how to do it? What should we do? So these are some of the points which we noted down, and it was in our mind. So to foster the importance of innovative thinking in overall success of engineers, starting from the courses they learn. So what we did here, that 2 years ago, we started a course. Probably you go to our website and see very innovative course called as Engineering Exploration. Engineering Exploration. I think this course is also started at the same time, almost same time, in Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, BAMU, Aurangabad. Almost same time we started this course on engineering exploration in first year. So it's a 4-hour lab course where we teach students all branches. It's a compulsory course for all branches. So what we did 2.5 years ago now, that we started this course of engineering exploration. the model on which we did this, both of this, Bamu and us did, was based on basically two things. One is Purdue University, USA, and second was BV Bhumireddy College of Engineering, which is now University, bvb.edu at Hubli, BVB College of Engineering. It's a famous college. It's a very old college. I think Sudha Murthy is alumnus of that engineering college, wife of Narayan Murthy, Infosys founder. Right? So it's a very old college. So that college has developed this culture, innovation culture since I think last 15 years, right? So they are trying to, and they have succeeded. So we followed their model and University of Purdue University USA model in developing this course, right? So starting from the courses they learn, we must have this importance of innovative thinking, right? And what we did in this engineering exploration, what we do, we teach them innovativeness in all the aspects of engineering. So we just do not tell them, we stress upon them the multidisciplinary approach to solve today's complex problems, right? And this is actually to inculcate habits to dream and think creatively. Add spice to your thinking, add dreaming, add thinking, add creativity, right? So these three things, 1, 2, 3, we have achieved with a single course known as engineering exploration. Engineering exploration. You can find very good details. You can ask me later also after the end of lecture. Anytime you can ask what we do there. So with this, what was the impact? I will tell you sometime later. But the innovation seed starts very early in the first year itself, right? In the first year itself. And then obviously we must also think of training faculty towards all these innovation things, then to build incubation and startup culture. So for that you must have certain startups in our institute itself, right? So 2.5 years ago we started it with a very simple, not much innovative, but civil engineering related consultancy project. Before that also Lenina madam must have told you I think yesterday that she started 2-3 startups, student startups, and she herself is also founder of one startup. She must have told you yesterday itself. Then tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you will also listen to one of our entrepreneur who is a startup, sorry, Mr. Sumit Vijapure, Journey of an Entrepreneur. So he is also product of our institute. So I'll take water. Just give me a couple of seconds. So Mr. Sumit Vijapure will tell his journey as an entrepreneur before coming to our college as well as after coming to our college. So we started his startup also. Right now he is having his startup in our institute, right? So all these startup culture we wanted to start, right, with this single most in our mind, in our thinking of building incubation and startup culture. And we also train the faculty that I just mentioned here. So we want to create future entrepreneurs finally. So these are the in detail what we must do. You know, there is a resistance, isn't it? ये जो ओम होते हैं ना, ये ओम वाले जो होते हैं, ये इतने सारे के सारे ओम्स, all these ohms will resist the current, right? So we must tell these ohms, we must win over these ohms by justification. Why we should do this innovative thinking, innovative approach. So why? But why? Okay, but why? Agreed, but what if? All these scenarios must be well thought and you must be well prepared as a change agent, right? As a change agent, as a person who is changing the ecosystem of developing the ecosystem of your institute, you must go in details of all these, right? So for example, I have just used some of the things here, that why you need this kind of change, why you must change the current setup, right, for innovative and entrepreneur kind of students, right? Why? Because countries who have focused on innovation have prospered. This should be our first tagline. Second, entrepreneurship is experiencing explosive growth in India, because India is a poor young country, but other developed nations are rich old countries. So India, when will grow from young to rich, why should not we go from poor to rich? So we must take the advantage of change in the demography, right? Means so many young people with minds, and regional needs coupled with global needs make the innovation process more effective. And we have support from government, we have support from philanthropists. There are so many people who want to invest. There are so many schemes: Make in India, Startup India, Stand Up India, Smart India, hackathons. All these things are there, which government has done. Basically, government has set up innovative ambassadors there, right? So if you go to the erstwhile MHRD and today's Ministry of Education website, then you will find that the government has appointed Dr. Abhay Jere as a key person for developing innovation ecosystem in whole India. So what you must do is just go and join that MIC. MIC means Ministries Innovation Council, and you must go to IIC. You form your own Institutes Innovation Council. And it's very easy to form Institutes Innovation Council. There are certain other schemes which are known as NISP also, right? So I'm just writing down all these. So innovation ambassadors, you can become innovation ambassadors. There are so many things government is supporting, that if you take the advantage of all those schemes which government is giving, not only to government institutes but to private institutes also. If government is supporting like never before, definitely. I don't want to compare the Narendra Modi government with earlier governments, but I am just making a statement, plain statements, like never before, right? So in last 3-4 years, they are pushing AICTE and Ministry of Education, which was earlier MHRD, is pushing this change. If they are pushing this change, why there are so many AICTE FDPs in this area? Because they want to push the change, right? So it's very, templates are ready. What programs you should do is ready. It's just you find out, you do it. So somebody should do it. So somebody has to be explained why we should do it. So this is the first why. But there are so many other ohms also who will ask why, but why? So again, justification has to be given, right? So there should be a community, right? So SDGs are given, Sustainable Development Goals, given by United Nations. So we must develop a low-cost, indigenous, innovative solutions for rural India. Then only you will fulfill the demand of the rural India to grow rich. This will create jobs. This will develop economy. This will develop prosperity, and finally you will find that you will prosper. But again, there are ohms. After explaining all this, also they will say, "Okay, but why?" Okay, but why? And then we have to ignite the minds of students as they enter in the institute, and that is what we have done. Right? Catch them young. Catch them young is a wrong word to use, because this was used by Hitler, I think, but we use it in a good sense. Ignite the minds of students as they enter the institute, train the trainers, and work with each other. Right? So, but there are again people agreed, but what if we do not do this, what will happen? जैसे है वैसे रहेंगे, right? Then then the answer would be obviously students will be only job seekers. And if there are millions of job seekers, I find it very strange because if you go to Twitter, last 2-3 days, one trend was there: Modi Rozgar Do. Modi give us jobs. Modi give us jobs. Modi Rozgar Do. Okay, so I find it very strange. Not because my ideological thinking is lined with Modi ji, but basically whether you are skillful enough to get the jobs. So that is also one question one should ask oneself, right? So, and the other question with so many schemes, whether you are becoming job creators rather than getting jobs only. How many jobs any government can support? I am again not defending the government right now, present government, but even if this government changes and new government comes, how many new jobs the government can provide you? How many? You must support the industry and you must make all those, why all those big nations except one which I should not name also, but I will name, except China, that without growing industry they have grown. But in China also, when they started prospering, go to history, read things, when they started as a manufacturing hub, low cost cheap labor with a manufacturing hub, then they started prospering, then they started collecting dollars, then they prospered, right? So economy of China prospered only when they started manufacturing jobs. So this we must stress, that India will lose trillions of dollars, pounds worth business to foreign countries who will solve them and earn money out of this. Okay. So last 10 minutes I will take, and not more than that. So
Saddam
these are,
sir, please mute your. Saddam sir.
hello.
Yes sir, continue sir.
Yeah, 10 minutes I will take, not more than that. So there are some indicators to check the progress, and here I told you most people will tell trainings are organized karo, seminar organized karo, programs, arrange programs, right? So I have just indicated here that which things you should check. How many trainings you have organized, how many multidisciplinary projects you are doing, how many national level, international level competitions your students are participating, etc., etc., etc. Right? So these are some of the indicators which you should progress. And finally, you should move up, move the tempo up, right? Talk, communicate, give concessions to incubators, get more funds, take faculty into confidence, etc., etc. So with the importance in communication is very in the ecosystem, whole ecosystem, communication is very important. I tried a lot. Some of the photographs I have collected here. How have I communicated? Excuse me, pardon me, but this is kind of self eulogizing. There is a self talk, but just to show you that how I tried to make change through different talks, through different seminars, then using meetings, group meetings, communicating them with some of them. Like here, this photograph I have taken, there is agency called as DISQ. It's a Digital Impact Square. This is actually TCS initiative in Nashik. You can just go through DISQ Nashik and see. They are incubators basically. So I communicated with them. 3 of our students have completed 6 months internship in DISQ Nashik. So there were a lot of MOUs signed, etc. Because everybody knows what to do. So I will not tell that to everybody. But this is how I communicated. Then I communicated like journey of an entrepreneur, Mr. Sumit Vijapure. As I am telling you, he is having lecture, right? Tomorrow or day after tomorrow to all of you. He is going to tell you. So such kind of lectures I arranged. So this is a photograph of the same lecture, right? Then I have also showed various programs which were available on MHRD's website. Then I took opportunity to tell my thoughts on any program which I could have. For example, here it is graduation day, felicitation of meritorious students. Then this is again, I think, Sumit's lecture. In canteens, you have to go out of the way to mix with the students. So this is a kind of, say, meeting in canteen, having a tea or coffee with students, right? And then I mixed with them. So this was one of the design thinking workshops. And the person here, smart person, is Rohan Goswami from Y Center, right? So he is a very good person who taught us design thinking, how to think differently. I even went to hostels and climbed on top of my car. I have not climbed on somebody else's car. This is my car. To just mix up with students, just come and do certain things. We must do all those things, right? So all the things which I have done, which are necessary. So there are many challenges, as I told you. Ohms both hai apne yahan pe. A lot of ohms are there. So we have to overcome these challenges somehow. You have to communicate with them. Basically, I taught them only two things: that use brain power and force them to experience creativity. So this is one of the most important thing you must do. Select some focus areas. Focus area selection is very important, but it should not be limited to these focus areas. And finally, you must reiterate the power of many. So if many people come together, you can achieve many good things. For example, I don't know where you will get sound or not. Let me check. This is, I told you I like movies a lot. And there is one movie cartoon by Pixar. It's Finding Nemo. It's a cartoon movie. Let me check whether it is. No, the sound is not coming to you. So it's basically all these fishes are trapped because they are being harvested, right? But this particular small fish, right, is trying to tell everybody that they should swim against the tide. Okay, so he is convincing everybody to swim down. So now he is trying to convince all of them to swim down, and then when they listen to him, then as you can see, there is now downward direction. And then finally, these people are very amused now what is happening. Because all these fishes are going now downwards. They are listening to him. Okay, just swim down. So that character of Dory is also very famous. And finally, this breaks down this rope and all these fishes become free. So this is the power of many. Right? So there is another very good, very old cartoon, Ek Chidiya Anek Chidiya. I will not play the entire thing, but it was brought by Shiksha Praudhyogiki Kendra. This was when I was in my childhood. Okay, so you just go and find this Ek Chidiya Anek Chidiya in YouTube. You will get this, right? So finally, the teamwork is essential. So demonstrate the teamwork again and again and again. This is one of the most important thing, and definitely let's hope for the best, right? And how did I do this? Basically, at the end of my impact, because here you can see the impact was very obvious, because you might be knowing what is ARIA. ARIA is Atal Innovation Rank, Atal Ranking of Institutions on innovation achievement. So we took part in the ARIA ranking of 2020, which was based on the work carried out by us in 2018-19. So that was my first year of dean of all these innovative activities, and we were ranked 4th in India in government and government aided category. Sorry, so here it is government aided category, right? Here you can see after College of Engineering Pune, after PS College of Engineering and Coimbatore College of Engineering and Technology, SGGS was placed 4th in India and second in Maharashtra after COEP, and then it was Krishna Mal College of for Women, and then VJTI. So in Maharashtra, this ARIA ranking was COEP, SGGS, and VJTI. So this was the impact in the first year of our thing. I don't know how I am because this year's ARIA ranking data has just begun, data uploading. Okay, and after that, then I got a change management training. After that, I was sent to one program called as UKRI, UK India Education Research Initiative. And these were the 4 people from Dudley College, London, Dudley College, UK. And he, I think everybody understands Professor Sahasrabuddhe, AICT chairman. And this was the change management project I did later, actually. But somehow at the end of this UKRI program, the COVID came, and last 1 year we could not do many things, right? Finally, as there is one paper published by us, Mantakar sir, myself, and Professor Joshi, Education After COVID-19 Disruption, which was submitted. It is now already published, where we have stressed upon importance of lifelong learning. Okay, so you can just download that paper and see. Finally, just 2-3 minutes. These are 2 famous quotes which I like a lot. Thinking should become your capital asset, no matter what your ups and downs you come across your life. And technology, unlike science, is a group activity. It is not based on individual intelligence, but on the interaction of many people. Both the statements by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And finally, there is a short story of only 15 to 20 seconds. Great work is its own reward. I request you to just see the slides and listen to me. When someone tells you that you can't do something, look around. Consider all options, then go for it. Use all the traits within you. Be creative. In the end, you will succeed. So thank you very much. Be positive, and I hope I could live up to your expectations. And if you want to ask certain quick questions or long questions, I am here. So those who want can ask questions to me. Thank you very, very, very much. So the floor is open for questions.
Thank you, sir. I request all the participants, please ask if you have any question or doubt. Type it in the box either or have one-to-one conversation.
Or you can send me mail. Okay, let me just share my mail ID also if they have not noted down. Oh, sorry. It is not there. Okay. What I will do, I will write a mail ID here. And this is my WhatsApp number. So you can just ask me questions right now or anytime, whenever you want. I hope I was of some help to somebody.
Yes, sir, definitely. Your session is quite smooth and interactive session, according to me. With we are thinking that we are watching some Matrix or something cartoon movie, and we are getting knowledge from that movie.
Sir, Dr. Upadhyay here. I wish to raise one question.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
Sir, myself, Dr. Ashok Upadhyay,
Yes, sir.
working as a principal at Government Polytechnic Hingoli, having 35 years of experience nearly.
Okay, sir.
You have vast experience and you are very closely related with the field of entrepreneurship development, training the students in this field. Sir, I would like to ask one question. I wish to know your experience about this question. What I personally feel, a long back, I think some 10 years before or so, there was a scheme from the government that those government employees who want to go out leaving their government job for 5 years, they can go out, they can work, and they can come back. There was one scheme. Sir, I feel that a person having knowledge of management, entrepreneurship, and all that, and preaching to the entrepreneurs, to certain extent it works, I understand. But I personally feel that a man who himself is working as an entrepreneur, if he shares experiences, perhaps that can be more effective. With this consideration, should a scheme not come in the government in government polytechnics, engineering colleges, that those teachers who want to become entrepreneur at their own, allow them to go for 5 years out, and maybe like we go for QIP for PhD with full salary. Let us give 50% salary also to them. Nothing wrong if you can go for PhD like in Polytechnic. We did our PhD and have come back. Of course, a lot of exposure is there during the PhD program, but the higher level of academic knowledge acquired is not directly useful to the polytechnic education, but definitely exposure that we acquired is useful for polytechnic education, that I will definitely say. So what I say, if we can be sent for higher education, especially for PhD, giving full salary, can government not bring a scheme that to take 50% salary, and of course not open to everybody. You will make a selection criteria who are eligible. You select the some teachers, faculty members, whoever decide a criteria, and leave the people to go for 5 years with 50% salary. Let them be entrepreneur. Let them have a bond like we give the bond in PhD program. Come back in the institute. You can run parallel your entrepreneurship also, whatever is there. And you come to the institute, serve the institute for 5 years, and develop the culture of entrepreneurship among the students. What is your comment about this, sir?
Yes, sir. Actually, it's both the things available. Actually, this is a very good scheme. It was available. Right now, it is not there. That is true. But if you have not gone anywhere, you can take always 2 years of sabbatical leave. 5 years is not there, but 2 years is there, which you can take. And secondly, now they have even allowed to you to start your own enterprise while in service. So while you are in service, you can start your own company. So they have not restricted you now. Earlier it was restricted, but now it is not restricted. So
being in service, 10 to 6 job, and then after that, perhaps, sir, because the major working time is day. So my only issue is the point is that if you can be sent, especially for polytechnic teachers, if we can be sent for such a higher education of PhD in engineering, then what is wrong for sending and that to 50% salary? There is a benefit to the government also.
Yes, sir. I think collectively, if you raise this issue with government or with the policy decision makers, definitely they will consider.
Now, what you feel the idea which I am suggesting, आपको इसमें क्या लगता है, सर? कुछ
सर बहुत बढ़िया है. If there is a bond, definitely there is not a problem for government also, because for PhD also QIP there is a bond. Yes, that after returning, after getting this salary, 100% salary. They have to work in the institute for 6 years.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, they have to give 6 years salary.
Yes, sir.
So if the same bond is there
Yes, sir.
for such a kind of scheme, I don't think government has any problem.
And even it can be 50% salary also.
Yes, yes,
Only the people who have got a challenge risk carrying capacity, only they should be permitted.
correct, correct. So I think they will, because we should collectively demand
Yes,
such
sir.
schemes.
So at higher levels are having higher contact and you are running EDP sale also. So at your level also you try, sir, for something, some kind of this proposal to the government.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks, sir.
Sir, Principal sir, can I add something in this?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Dr. Gajare sir.
Yes,
sir. Along with these, can we also try for teachers, polytechnic teachers or engineering faculties to go in industry and work out like we are going to the PhD from?
So that is also there right now. The problem is that this kind of industry institute connect is missing. Otherwise, government is encouraging you to go to industry and take experience.
Okay. So we are getting the paid leave for getting the job. Or getting
You can get, sir.
experience in.
The problem is that people try to misuse the schemes. That's why the problem is there. Correct.
Yes.
So which kind of industry, which kind of training. Otherwise, there are, with so many new companies, with a one-man company or 10-man company, you will just go out and get certificate of 6 months training without doing anything. So such
Correct.
misuse might happen. But otherwise, the scheme is still available, but nobody goes for such schemes because faculty itself might not want to get good knowledge, up-to-date knowledge in industry. So that might be one of the big reasons.
Maybe.
We
Sir.
tried it, sir. We took 3 weeks of training in semiconductor industries, Sankalp Semiconductors at Hubli. In 2007, we took 3-week industry training inside Hubli. So our college supported 3 weeks leave because it was in vacation.
No, sir. Basically, I am asking not about the training, but as Principal sir have asked about the entrepreneurship, the 2-3 years of entrepreneurship continuously. He is setting the business, one type of business. For that, sir have asked. In the same way, I am asking for the doing the job like in that particular industry, and so that the lecturer and faculty is having the experience of industry, and they can teach in more better way to the student with practical knowledge, as we are expecting the best outcome.
We should encourage faculty. The problem is that faculty is not ready to go. I have also seen, sir, there were opportunities even for 5-day training in industry. Faculty is not ready. Many faculty were not ready to go because then they probably. I mean, I really don't know the reasons, but probably their knowledge will get exposed, kind of thing, isn't it?
Maybe, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Any other participant who want to ask something or discuss something with Dr. Suhas, sir? Okay, fine, sir. It is again. It is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, sir. Actually, I too want to add something.
Yes, sir.
So
Please,
actually, sir presentation was very nice, and it is the collection of very good background pictures and words. But
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
hello.
Please, sir.
But
Please,
one
sir.
thing I want to say, sir have shown us many cartoons. So few years back, I have seen a cartoon in which there was a plant and
Sahadev, sir, please mute your mic. Sahadev, sir. Sahadev Kotmale, sir.
so there was a plant and hello.
Okay, fine,
Also,
fine.
sir, what I want to say, there was a plant, and to plant, few person are showing them PowerPoint presentation to that plant, how to grow and what are the requirements to grow to that plant. But finally, actually, that plant said, "Ki, I don't need such presentations. I need a certain amount of sunshine, certain amount of water, and certain amount of soil to grow up." So, although these PPTs are okay and such things are okay, but ultimately, actually, we need the atmosphere where entrepreneurship can grow, and how that atmosphere come, uh, in that direction we should think how can we create that environment, because sir is talking about the innovation, and it is very difficult to model the innovation, how innovations are happening. It is very difficult. Like I know one of the entrepreneur in the Surat, that he is very famous for his that diamond business and something Dholakia, and his education level is very too, but a few years back I am seeing he is distributing cars and flats to its employee. So that is what I want to say. Ki through such initiatives, we need to create the environment where entrepreneurship will grow. And how can we create this environment? What I feel, we don't need the 12 companies of 12 crores. What I feel, we need 12 crore companies of individuals, even 12,000 amount. So, in our institute, whatever amount of respect we are giving to academicians, bureaucrats, and such dignitaries, we should respect first even a small entrepreneur, even it may be a fruit seller also. And that's all what I want to say.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely correct, because all these talks and presentations will be zero, as you rightly pointed out. To show plant how to grow is not enough. They need certain things, ingredients, sunshine, water, soil, etc. That is what is basically we tried at least, and that is why our college came fourth in India in area, in that, right. So we must take it forward from here. uh, it's very rightly pointed out, somebody has to do it. Only talk is not enough, somebody has to definitely do it. And you should catch them young, as I told, that in the first year itself we should try some innovative things and let it happen. They will fail, because in the first instance they will not do. After thousands of tries, then only Edison has given us the bulb, right. So after many tries only there will be one success which will be shown to the world. So this culture should get developed. We should not scold them that why have you failed, right. Let them try, let them fail. So 4 5 failures in a project is not a big thing, because we have enough resources. At least if the student is failing in some innovative projects, we should encourage them to take innovative projects. You are absolutely correct, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir. Actually, one more thing I want to ask you, sir,
Yes.
related to, since you are working at this level. So my question is related to cloud services. So providing cloud service is very nowadays it has become an essential part of IT services and communication services. Even such services are required for academia also. But when I'm seeing the this cloud service providers available around the world, most of them are from the foreign countries, especially the Facebook, the Amazon, and Google. So even we are power in the software, we are having so expertise in this computer field. Why we are not providing such services and
So the answer is in
Why
your
we are
question
lagging in
itself,
this?
sir. The answer is in your question. We are expert in software, but we are not expert in hardware. Basically, hardware is created by some different set of industries, different set of countries like China, Chinese Taipei, Malaysia. All the hardware related to the servers or these clouds is done by some other countries. It is taken on premium by some other countries which have a lot of money, lot of potential for investment, which are mostly based in Europe and the USA. So they purchase lot of hardware. They have cloud farms already. They have resources. They have land. They have right kind of policies, and then they keep on this hardware under all the mines. You might have been knowing. You might be knowing rather all the abandoned mines they purchase, and in those mines it is easy to just keep them cool, all those servers, right? So mostly they are so advanced right now that even if any billionaire in India is trying for that, we still lag in technology, but somehow should make daring definitely, because so the USA people purchase it from some other countries, all those hardware. So we can also definitely purchase our big billionaires, the big 2 3 people. I don't want to name them because they have been politicized so much nowadays, but those should think, those who have money in their hand right now, they can invest. They should invest in India definitely for such cloud servers. Then they will have this kind of things, right? Because nowadays you know that Flipkart was originally Indian company which gave tough competition to Amazon earlier. So that kind of disruptive innovation can happen, right? Any innovation in any area, but it was a kind of aggregator only, market aggregator, sales aggregator. So it doesn't require hardware as such, but hardware and networking is not our forte as such, initially also and not now also. So we are good at programming, we are good at other things, but not good at hardware. So even in VLSI, there are very few manufacturing related jobs in India, and forget about manufacturing companies in India. So all the things we do design work only in VLSI.
Actually, sir, I am asking this question to you because you are associated many government schemes and government institutes. What I feel ki banking, railway, and such organizations are having cloud kind of the service. So means in government platform, why such issues are not raised? If we know this thing from last 10 years, we are not having the capability
Yes, sir.
to
Right now,
manufacture the
actually, government.
hardware.
Sorry,
And
but right now government is changing the policies. Earlier, it was not required that they should keep data servers in India, but now they have made it mandatory. They have changed the law now that if anybody, any multinational company, also if the company wants to set up some Indian version of the company, India Limited company, private limited India, then they should have servers in India. That is a law now. They have recently changed it. So from now onwards, any company who wants to set up a separate wing in India should have servers in India. So that is must for them, because there was a big data issue, you might be knowing, with Facebook. So that issue is still pending, but earlier there was no law regarding this. Now I think they have brought one.
so, sir, actually, what I'm trying to ask or try to say, earlier one scheme was there in with the polytechnics. I don't know whether it is existing nowadays or not, like the community polytechnic.
Hmm.
So, likewise, is it possible that we provide some kind of the very small grade of the cloud service with some polytechnics just for the street vendors and very small entrepreneurs, or particularly in some local area. Uh, I hope you are getting what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
I'm
say.
getting what you are saying, sir. But it's a very money incentive company. A lot of huge investment is required because with a small investment,
Nee,
cloud farm is very difficult to prosper.
So that is actually what I'm saying, Sarma. Even every time at this stage, if we will say like this,
But
ki,
sir, somebody
huge
should definitely
investment,
think,
government,
somebody should
then how
definitely think
innovation
on,
will happen?
yeah. Somebody should definitely think on your lines and try to make community together and start such kind of things. Yes, sir. This is a good idea because then we will become self-reliant basically. Your basic
Yes,
aim
actually, the big cloud services, hiring the big cloud services are not possible to such small vendors.
Hmm.
So even at the community level, at a particular region where people like you are situated, and Polytechnic, which is having expertise in computation and communication, so may send a proposal to government, or since you are, I assume that you are a person of high repute, you are in touch with authorities also. So can we work on such models, and then uh, we can just develop such spots in many areas?
Yes, sir. I will definitely take this forward with my contacts. We have other entrepreneurs also, good entrepreneurship network also we are having of AGJS alumni. So I will take this issue forward definitely, sir. This is also good idea. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Hmm.
Thank you very much, sir. So again, on the behalf of Department of Electronics and Telecommunication and my organizing team and Government Polytechnic Hingoli, I it is my privilege to give thanks to Dr. Suhas sir for giving and sharing his motivating and quite different experience till today. So definitely we will ensure you that we will adopt the word Kaizen in or the participants and in our student, so that they will change their view and their educational approach, small but in steady way, continuously change mode. So thank you very much, sir,
Yes, thank
for
you.
your
Thank you very
guidance.
much
Thank
for
you.
giving me the opportunity also. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And all the participants, we have the next session tomorrow morning at 10:30 again. And we will now stop here. Mark your attendance as our attendance is shared in chat box. Thank you all and good day.